Good afternoon, Trojans. My name is Esther Lanier. I am the Senior Career Advisor for doctoral and graduate students at the USC Career Center. Thank you for joining me today as we bring to you the Graduate Student Career Expo event that's being held as we speak. Hopefully you had an opportunity to attend the alumni panel. And we're here to learn more about identifying your transferable skills. And after this session, you'll be able to join in for a networking session from 6 to 7. My colleague Stephanie or Divina will be able to facilitate any questions as attendees coming to the chat. Okay, so let's get started. So as we look at identifying our transferable skills, the objective for today is to take a look at the importance of what transferable skills are, why do employers look for them, transferable skills in action and the resource I'll be able to share with you, and also being able to identify transferable skills in a sample job description that I've been able to find, and also being able to communicate your transferable skills in a CV or resume. So what are transferable skills? When we think of transferable skills, we need to think of them as competencies or the attributes or skills that we have acquired or developed through our experiences or activities. It comes from many different forms, whether it be through activities in school involvement, in your internships, in community service, or actual full-time work or part-time work experience that you might already have had. And all those skills that you learn along the way come with you across different positions that you might be interested in, whether you stay within the same industry or you pivot into a different one. They're also known soft skills. So why are they important? They're important because they communicate your specialized training. When you think about your skill sets, whether you're in a master level program or a PhD program, you're learning very specialized information and trainings with the experience. And so that you'll be able to facilitate and converse with an employer to share how that knowledge or training that you have will help them understand what background and experience you bring as they're looking and evaluating your expertise. So when we look at from the employers, what are the employers looking for? So based on the National Association of Colleges and Employers really look at transferable skills in terms of the soft skills you see here: communication, critical thinking, teamwork, professionalism, to list a few. And we all have these. This is just now in a way that employers are prioritizing them in terms of what they find are important for the positions they're looking for. Also, employers look for these particular skill sets within your resume. So when you read job descriptions, actually, these are going to be the type of skill sets that it's going to be highlighting. So as you look at the job description, fine comb it, in terms of looking deeply in terms of what it's saying, what skill sets it seems to be repeating a lot. And so again, they're transferable because across any industry, we all have to showcase problem-solving skills, ability to work in a team, having strong work ethic and analytical skills, and so on. So these are skill sets that employers will be able to look for on your resume. So why is it important for employers, right? Our end goal is to get hired. And so employers really want to learn how you are able to bring a valuable source of skill or experience into the particular role that they're looking to hire. You are showing them also how you're able to transfer your skill sets to the organization and develop any further skill sets that you may not have. Also, your skills are applicable in all professions and industries. So you don't have to feel that it's only for one particular industry that my skill sets are relatable. It's also important to note that employers want to see concrete examples of its experience or skill sets that you have, because they're looking for that skill match. So I just briefly joined the alumni panel, and one of the panelists pretty much focused that he had to showcase how his program management skill sets were pretty much the same as a project manager. So that's the job that we have as candidates, is that being able to facilitate that story for the employer to understand what we bring into that particular role. So when you look at transferable skills, we all have them. And some of these are the ones that are pretty much across the board: communication, leadership, critical thinking, and teamwork. So obviously, when you think about communication, think about how you express your ideas, your creativity, your initiatives, your innovations, how you're able to obviously communicate in writing when you're presenting information. In terms of your leadership, looking at how you manage, you know, your own actions, but also the emotions of others, and how you're able to showcase empathy and motivate others. And if you're in a position to have delegated work as well. Critical thinking is very important too, because this is where you get to showcase your analytical skills, how you interpret data, how you give insights to what the data says. And also that's how you also be able to create creative insights and be innovative. And teamwork, who doesn't work in teams, right? So we all have to showcase what expertise we bring in highlighting our ability to work in teams, and also being able to negotiate and or manage conflict if that is a space of experience that you may have. So as graduate students, I want you to think about the graduate training that you do have. This is just some couple of lists that you can say that you can think about that you may have through your graduate training. And again, it takes a little bit of self-assessing and reflection to really think about how you want to communicate these as well. But just to start off, you have the ability to learn and adapt quickly. You can definitely thrive in competitive environments. By all means, you're always writing at all different levels, and you can convey complex information to an expert and non-expert audiences. So this is just to show you that your skills that you're learning in your master's degree program or your PhD program is transferable across many different areas or industries of your choice. Now, again, these are just a list of different industries that those particular skill sets can be transferable to. So obviously, these are just a couple of them, but it could be healthcare, engineering, the academy, government, banking, entertainment. It's up to you as to how you want to showcase your skill sets in the interest of the industry that you have. And it's always important too that as you connect with employers and as you're able to learn more through your own research for that particular industry, what are the particular skill sets that are going to be highly needed within that space? So how do we translate our skill sets? So as I mentioned earlier, you have the ability to thrive in competitive environments, right, at different levels. And so I'm sure at some point or another, you've seen what we call action verbs. And so this is one way to start that conversation. So instead of, just assuming that the employer knows that you have the ability to negotiate or that you have co-authored some particular paper, that you are able to utilize the language that the employer is saying. So this is just some action verbs that you can think about, but obviously the job description is going to give you a lot more than what this is as it pertains to the position. Now, how to identify the transferable skills, correct? And so when you think of yourself, you have to think about what activities or tasks do you enjoy and or not enjoy, and what do you do and how do you do it? And so whether it be an activity where you are a learner, let's say you are able to capture a lot of different information and you're very detail oriented, think about how that is applicable, not just in terms of your personal life, but also how that's applicable in your working life, right? And so you want to look at assessing your skills too. You have taken inventory, and this is where you go through that reflection piece, and you have to pinpoint how you are using them. So at the Beyond the PhD conference, there were two resources that were presented. One is a transferable skills assessment tool, and the other one is a way to track your skill sets in reference to how you're using it, or if it's a skill that you don't have, how you can track this information so that along the way, you are able to keep that inventory. And lastly, you want to be able to demonstrate that skill. And so remember, the employers want to know what you bring to the table in reference to the position. So you want to identify your skill and provide a concrete example of what that is. So it looks like there's a conversation. Okay, no, all right. And let's see here. Okay. So Nima has a question. Thank you for joining us, Nima. Do you have any resources or advice to help us convey our transferable skills through our cover letters? So I will go through as I continue with the presentation here. I do have an example for you, but definitely, you know, in reference to the position that you might be interested in, you can definitely make an appointment with us and we can go from there and be more specific in terms of conveying that skill sets. All right, so here's an example of a job I pulled from Connect to See. And here the goal is really to really dissect the description that the employer is giving you. A lot of times employers are very thorough. The descriptions can be lengthy. Sometimes they can be short. But this one here, I would say it was pretty clear in terms of what the employer is looking for. So it's a research associate in metabolics. And so I highlighted in yellow here the keywords that as I looked at the job description would be good to keep in mind. So advancing research, utilizing analytical and data analysis skills, and obviously very specific metabolic techniques, lab experience, and data analysis, and collaborating within a multidisciplinary team. So you can tell right away that analysis is very big part of this. Obviously, it's research based. And so when you look at the description too, I was able to underline the key words or the action verbs that they're already giving you: performing, developing, collecting and processing, and utilizing. And so this is how you want to think of the skill sets that you bring. Utilizing the message that the employer is giving you, because the goal is to make those connections on what experience you have based on what the employer is looking for. Okay, so it continues with qualifications. And so this one gets a little bit more detailed. And so it says experience with analytical and sample preparation, knowledge of metabolics and data processing, and data analysis software. Gives you a lot of these soft skills as well: organization, attention to detail, managing multiple tasks, interpersonal skills, which obviously goes along with being a team collaborator, and a proven track record of contributing to research projects, and if you have publications. So be worthy to be able to suggest to include that, obviously, publications onto your experience. So based on what I was able to understand from the position, this is in general what the list of them is. And so when you take a list of this, that's pretty lengthy, right? You pretty much go through the ways that you can say, you know, I definitely have these skills, definitely highlight my research. I can definitely highlight my analytical skills. And so the how part, this is where you're making the connections, right? So as you look at obviously your resume, you have to tailor it to what the opportunity is looking for. So in my next slides here, I'm now going to show you how to go about and demonstrating that skill, right? And so this is one reason when we suggest that you write your resume in an accomplishment format is with the intentionality that you're giving and showing the employer. You're not just telling the employer that you're good. You're actually giving a very concrete example, right? So you want to think about, I have my action verb or the skill, which is obviously what the employer has already provided to the job description. You have to tell them the why or the purpose you're saying that particular skill, the two part, and then the results. Remember that you also want to give a sense of impact. I know that we are always just caught up with just giving a very general, here's my duty, and leaving it up to an employer to figure out what the results or impact, but what unique value you brought to the position. So wherever you can, by all means, quantify. And yes, not every position that you have is going to have a number or being able to have a quantifiable form. But you can say if you improve that kind of process, or if you maximize something, reduce costs somewhere, what initiative did you take place? What did you implement? So think about how you're making a difference in that particular position. So here's an example that is not so good, that is definitely showcasing more of responsibility oriented example. Worked as a research assistant in an ABC program. You can name it however you want the program. But first of all, work is not action verb, right? Because we'll work. So that's very general. That's just making an assumption that the employer should figure out what that means. They don't, and they won't. And so here's a better way to showcase your experience. So launch a successful new research project on XYZ, published in 2 national journals, and this is where you can actually express what particular journals, and receive the $5,000 grant. So it's very specific. It also shows you an outcome to what you launching this particular research project was able to fund, further the project with this grant that you were able to secure. So the bottom line here is that when you look at your resume, and actually going back to the question that I read earlier, is that you have to be intentional about mentioning the benefit that you bring into the position, and you have to be very specific. So when you think about your cover letter, it's answering the question, tell me about yourself, but not so much in terms of what you want out of the employer, but what it is that you bring to the employer based on your experience. And you're able to give them very specific examples based on what you understand the job role is all about. And again, looking at synthesizing the information that is given to the job description and really making those connections for the employer to understand you. Here are some examples of resources, by the way. Your next step is one great resource, more career development. You can take a look at my skills, my temperament, my values. Also, this new resource, Skill Up, is a resource that you can take a look at in terms of, as far as maybe you might need to skill up or identify maybe some gaps in skills. That's a great resource to look into. It's module based. And so the next 2 here, they're definitely tailoring to the PhD population. Versatile PhD you can access through Connect SC, and you can take a look at the options for success. It is a career exploration course that will help you a lot with that. Who am I, what I like or don't like, and then moving forward in terms of looking at your skills and things like that. Imagine PhD, even though it has the title Imagine PhD, by all means, I would definitely say it's open. I have an account to it and not a PhD student. So obviously, take a look at that. It's also a career portal that you can tap in for free. And obviously it offers a skills assessment section too. So when it comes to other online resources, those ones that are valuable, I would say, are the Own It Online, that has a soft skills section that you can take a look at, and it's going to give you occupations related to what those skills are. Truity is great as well, just because it gives you different tests in terms of assessing yourself, or even personality assessments too. And also the Career One Stop gives you a skills matchmaker type of resource you can utilize. All right, and so that's all I have. So we can definitely take a look at what are the chats, questions in the chat available. You definitely follow us through all the different social media platforms that we have. All right, so definitely a lot of our information is through our Career Center on Connect SC. If you are not able to log into Connect SC, please let us know. But all the resources that I've mentioned are accessible through Connect SC, and hopefully we get to see you also the Career Center and utilize our services for any questions you may have during a drop-in or through an advising session with me or with any of the other advisors as well. So we hope that today's event is very insightful for you. I definitely encourage you to stay with us and participate in the alumni networking session that's following up at 6 o'clock, which is about 10 minutes from now. Are there any questions that you may have for me? If you have them, please to put them in the chat. Anything else? And this recording will be available to you as well. So I will definitely send that over to those of you that joined me tonight. I'll go ahead and stop the share. There's a question. To what extent should you customize your resume for each job? You need to customize as much as possible to the job for sure. Even though you might be applying for the same industry, every employer is going to give you a different, take on what they're looking for. So what it means is that you are pretty much, making a case for yourself in that particular position. So you definitely want to tailor not only your resume, but also your cover letter, because that is also another way that the employer is going to get a lot more insight about what you bring to the table. Again, like I mentioned earlier, the cover letter is really meant for you to express that tell me about yourself, why should I hire you? And so bringing in as much information from your resume that is very connected or relevant to the position is going to be very valuable for you. So the session for Life After Graduate School was it recorded? Let's see. Let me ask really quick. Or Liz.
Yes, the panel was recorded.
Okay.
And we'll be sharing that as well.
Okay, great. So yes, the panel was recorded and will definitely be available too. It was great. I joined it for the first 15 minutes and they had a great information to share right off the bat. So definitely take a look at that once you have a chance. Please put any other questions you may have available on the chat. Okay. Should your resume be more than one page, even if you have more related experience? It's up to you, but definitely always err on saying that you want to make sure your resume is at least one page. Now, if it's 2 pages, you want to make sure that it's relevant to what the position is. So a page and a half is not going to cut it. If you're going to want the 2 pages, make sure it's fully 2 pages. So yes, you can. Let's see, would you be able to schedule a Zoom consultation with a Career Center rep to go over my current resume? Yes, you can. So definitely you'll be able to get your resume reviewed or through our appointment section on Connect-SC. Just so you know as well, through Connect-SC, you can select career advising or career counseling. You won't be able to find a specific section that says resume review. We try to make all resume reviews through drop-in sessions, but definitely through our appointments, a conversation about your resume can definitely take place. Any other questions? Yes, one more. Okay. Oh, yes, we do actually. In fact, we do have networking tools that can help you. Obviously, the Trojan Network is one of them. We have Career Shift, and also just launched today, we have the Iris Photo Booth that is available to students and come and take their particular professional headshot and be able to also learn more about LinkedIn. And so the great part about that is that as the student is able to take their picture and complete their LinkedIn session with us, you're eligible for a e-business business card. So that is one great tool. We all need an e-business card when we are networking. So for sure, that is something that is tailored and branded with USC logo for you. So by all means, join us, and we're able to have the sessions between 1 and 3 o'clock. You can come and take your pictures and also learn more about LinkedIn as well. Let's see. Do you have to come to campus for the picture and talk about getting a business card? Yes. You do have to come into the Career Center, the Iris photo booth. It's a pretty big machine, so you have to come into the Career Center. And the headshots, again, are available to you. They're pretty much available to you from 8:30 to 4. But we definitely want to make sure that you take advantage of learning so much about LinkedIn too. So you want to make sure you can take advantage of those sessions. More questions? Okay, let's see. Okay, so how much degree specific information should be included in your resume? Obviously, you want to make sure that you have your current degree you're pursuing at USC and your bachelor's degree as well. I would say high school is not necessarily needed anymore. You can definitely incorporate also certifications that you might have taken as it relates to the positions. And so you can definitely do that. And hours for the Career Center, we are there to serve you from 8:30 to 5. And you can join us for drop-ins from 1 to 3:30 every single day, Monday through Friday. And you can also access us obviously through the different online resources that we have on Connect SC 24/7. You can also make an appointment with us, Monday through 7 as well. I'm sorry, Monday through Friday, not Monday through 7, sorry. And yep, we are located in STU 110, right by the area where you eat a lot. So come and join us. We have a great area where you can come in our lobby and take advantage of doing your homework there if you like, and being able to talk to any of the advisors that we have available. Okay, so let's see a question here. I transferred to an undergrad. Should I conclude both schools or only one that I got my degree? Well, you can definitely have to add your degree at USC, right? And so if you transfer, you can definitely add that particular school as well on your resume. And see, along with our degree in the resume, can we also mention, oh boy, let me see. With our degree in the resume, can we also mention the classes we took at USC? Definitely. You can mention related coursework. You can also mention your project experience to different classes that you already have taken that shows relevancy to what you're applying for. Okay, so we're about 2 minutes before our networking session starts. Thank you again for joining us. If you have one more question, please do put it in the chat. But I would like you to also be on time to the networking session of tonight's event. All right, so good night, everyone, and fight on, and we'll join you in the networking session. Take care.